Okay, step one. Take your fabric with the right sides up. After you've ironed it, you're going to line up the folded edges, the salvage edges with the right sides together. You're going to lay the fabric on the table with the fold closest to your body. You're not going to worry about lining up the right and the left. So step two, you're going to take the pattern, you're going to place the pattern on the fabric, lining up the bottom edge of the fabric with the folded edge, the bottom edge of the pattern with the folded edge of the fabric. Keep that in place. You're then going to, step number three, lay the plastic ruler along the right side of the pattern. You're going to use a fabric marker and you're going to draw a line. Make sure you can see the line. If you have dark fabric, use a light color marker or a light color pencil. You're going to rotate the ruler without moving the pattern. You're going to mark the top of your drawstring bag with your marker. And then you're going to rotate the ruler again, now onto your left. Align the edges, draw your mark. Remove the pattern, do not cut against the pattern. Now you've got 3 blue lines. Take your rotary cutter. Using your glove, I'm not going to have my glove on, but you need to be wearing your glove for safety. You're going to align the ruler along the first vertical line that you drew on the right side. Remember to measure twice, cut once. With your hand in the crab crawl position, as if there's a tennis ball underneath your hand, your pinky is on the left edge. You're going to engage the rotary, put your index finger over the front. You're going to start at your body, right off of the fabric. Make sure ruler is not on the metal edge of the table. Start cutting away from you. As soon as the rotary gets a little bit, about an inch past your middle finger on your left hand, stop with your right hand, keeping it into the fabric, and crab crawl up with your left hand. Remember not to move the ruler. Stop again, crab crawl up, cut all the way off the fabric. Retract your blade, put it down, double check that your fabric is cut all the way. Mine is not, so I'm going to come back to the beginning and I'm going to cut again. Go nice and slow, crab crawl up, remove. Take your scraps, put it where they belong, take your ruler off. So that was step 4A. So now we're going to rotate the fabric for 4B 180 degrees. So now the second vertical mark is going to be your next cut. And remember, anytime that you're cutting fabric, the part that you want to save stays underneath your ruler. So again, line up the line. Start at the very beginning. Start with the rotary, crab crawl up, cut with the rotary, crab crawl up, cut with the rotary. Retract the blade, double check that it cut, and that's your cut. Now you're going to rotate the fabric for 4C, which is rotate the fabric 90 degrees to cut the last line. Remember, we do not cut the fold line. Start at the very beginning, in the crab crawl position. So that's the cutting instruction. So for the second set of instructions, the marking the fabric, we are going to take a ruler, we're going to take our fabric pen, and we are going to mark right along the very edge, a very small mark, 2 3/4, and then 3 3/4. Remember to start at 0. Then you're going to go to the opposite side at 2 3/4 and 3 3/4. Very small along the edge. And this is the top part of the bag. This is not the folded side. Now you're going to come down to the bottom of the bag, and you can either use the table. All the blue squares are 1 inch apiece, or you can use your ruler. You're going to mark from the bottom up 2 inches. Mark from the bottom up 2 inches. You'll then lay your ruler down. Now you take your drawstring you're going to lay the drawstring starting at 0 across your ruler to 12. You're going to mark at the 6-inch mark and the 12-inch mark. Then take 2 little pieces of tape, lay the tape in the middle of your mark, roll it around your cord. This is going to keep the cord from fraying before you sew it. Put it in the middle, wrap it around. Now you're going to take your scissors and cut in the middle on the blue line and on the blue line. Now you're going to take your loop, loop it with these edges even. You're going to open up your fabric. You're going to place the loop on the inside of the fabric with about 1 inch of the drawstring cord sticking out. I'm going to grab a long pin. I'm going to hold the drawstring with my left hand that's inside the fabric, and really carefully I'm going to do a really tiny little running stitch along the outside of the fabric. It has to be, the pin has to be very close to the edge, and then you're going to run it right through the cord like a shish kebab. And then you're going to do another little running stitch, push the pin through, and then even it out so there's no bunching. You're then going to take your second piece of cord, do the same thing. You're going to put a loop. You put the loop on the inside of the fabric, open it up, scooch it in, and make sure that the cord is right below but touching the mark that you put, the 2-inch mark. Have the cord hanging out about 1 inch. Again, you're going to take the pin, do a really tiny little running stitch, go through the cord, and then when you come out of the cord, do another little running stitch, push it through, even it out, and now the cord is not going to come out when you go to sew. Next, you're going to take about 5 pins, and you're going to evenly pin the fabric about 2 finger length away from the edge of the fabric. Have your pins pointing inward. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to do both sides. And remember, you have to go through all the layers of the fabric. When you pin, it keeps the fabric from shifting, and it'll keep your edges even. You do not have to pin in the middle, you do not have to pin on the top, and you do not have to pin on the fold. Alright, so we're going to load up our fabric. We're going to be using the 5/8 seam allowance. You're going to put the fabric right at the edge of the presser foot. We're going to go forward 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about. Push the reverse stitch down, reverse, and you're going to now sew to your first mark. Staying on 5/8, stop at the first mark, and it's when your needle reaches the mark. Hit reverse, go back 5 stitches, forward 5 stitches. Take your needle out, lift up your presser foot, pull the fabric out, clip the thread. You're now going to reload the same part of the bag back in, and you're going to load it at the second mark on 5/8. Put your presser foot down, make sure the needle is going into that mark. Whoops. Make sure the needle is going right near that mark. You're going to go forward 5 stitches, back 5 stitches. Alright, and then we're going to go forward, stay on 5/8. The point is I want to keep 1 whole inch open right there for the casing later on. Keep it on 1 inch, on 5/8. Go nice and slow. Control the fabric. Now when you come close to the cord, the machine is not going to want to go over the cord. You're going to have to pull it a little bit. So I'm holding the fabric behind my presser foot. When I get to the cord, it's going to stop. Just pull it gently and the thread will go over and stop. And we need to reinforce this. We're going to go back and forth a few times. So we're going to go 1, and you're going over the same stitches. 2, pull it again a little bit, back one more time. Now you're going to go forward. Make sure you go all the way to the end of the fabric and off the fabric. As soon as your needle goes off the fabric, you're going to reverse stitch again. Stop, go forward. Pull your needle up, pull your thread out, and now you're going to start on the bottom side. Flip your fabric around, start on the bottom side. Again, you're going to start at 5/8. You're going to start at the fold. Make sure your needle is going to go in right at the edge of the fabric so there's no holes. Go forward 5 stitches, back 5 stitches. Go forward. You're going to get to the drawstring again, and it's going to be a little harder to grab, but grab the fabric behind. Now reverse. I'm going to hold the fabric. I'm going to pull it a little bit. I'm going to go forward again. I'm going to go back one more time. Now go forward. You're going to go to your first mark towards the top of the bag, and you're going to stop, staying on 5/8 all the way. Now I'm going to stop at my first mark. I'm going to reverse. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to turn my needle up. I'm going to lift my presser foot up. I'm going to take the fabric out of the machine, and now I'm going to reload it again, leaving that 1 inch open at the second. And now I'm going to load it again at the second mark on 5/8. Make sure the needle is lined up to that last mark. I'm going to go forward 5 stitches, reverse 5 stitches, go forward. I'm going to run off the bag, and again I'm going to reverse and go forward, and now you're finished. You're now going to take it over to the irons, and we're going to iron open our seams after we take out all our pins. We're going to trim off all our extra little threads, throw them in the garbage. And then we're going to, before we open up the sides, we are going to take our fabric scissors and we are going to cut the cord right along the edge of the fabric. Do not open up the fabric and cut at the seam. Cut along the edge of the fabric. You're going to cut on both sides. Take your little fabric scraps, please, your drawstring drawstring scraps, and throw them in the garbage. You are then going to take your bag, you're going to open it up and put the bag on the horn of the ironing board. Taking a little bit of water, spray. That's not working. Spray your bag, spray the seam, and now we're going to press the seam opened. Fold it open, press the seam down. Remember, keep the iron moving while it's flat on the table on the ironing board so you don't burn your fabric. Okay, that seam's pressed open really well. Flip the bag over and do the same thing to the opposite side. If you have any more strings that are hanging off, please trim them and get them out of the way. Spray with a little bit of water. Iron your seams open. Make sure the iron is on hot. Now you're going to take the directions, and we are now at step 6. We go to step 7. We need to take our ruler. And step 7 says use the fabric marker to mark 1/4 of an inch below the opening on each side seam. So that 1 inch opening that we left when we were sewing the seam is right here. You're going to take the ruler at the opening, so from here to here is 1/4 of an inch. And we're going to mark that, and we're going to draw a line across the side of the bag. You're going to turn your bag over and do it to the opposite side. So there's my opening. I need to mark from here down 1/4 of an inch. Draw a line. Now we're going to take this over to the sewing machine. Okay, now we're on step number 8. We're going to make sure that the bottom part of the bag is underneath, and we're just sewing one side at a time. You're going to line up the edge of the presser foot to the seam. You're going to put the presser foot down. You're going to go forward 5 stitches, reverse 5 stitches. Go forward. So I am keeping the edge of my presser foot aligned with the seam. I'm going to the line that we just marked, and I'm creating a U. I'm going to stop when I get to the blue mark. I'm going to put the needle down. I'm going to lift my presser foot up, and I'm going to pivot and turn. And remember, make sure the bottom of the bag is not creeping up underneath your bag. You're only sewing one side at a time. Put the presser foot down, go across the blue line, put your needle down. You're going to pivot and turn again, and you're going to put the presser foot down and make sure the edge of your presser foot is against this seam on the bag. You're going to go all the way to the top of the bag again. Stop when you get to the end, reverse, go forward. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to cut my thread. Now I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to do it to the other side of my bag. Remember, with your seams pressed open, the bottom of the bag does not get caught underneath the presser foot. It's only one side of the bag. Line up the presser foot to the edge of the seam. Go down about 5 stitches, reverse 5 stitches, and then go forward. You're going to come to the mark again, the 1/4 of an inch mark below the opening. You're going to stop, make sure the needle is in the down position, lift up the presser foot, pivot and turn. Put the presser foot down. Again, make sure there's the back of the fabric, the other side of the bag is not underneath. Keep it nice and flat on your sewing machine. Go straight across. Put your needle down, pivot and turn. All right, make sure the presser foot again is up against the seam. If it's not, then readjust it. Come to the end of the fabric again. Reverse, go forward. Take your fabric out of the machine and trim off all your threads. And you can pause it. All right, we're on step number 12. We're going to take the bag and we're going to turn the bag right side out. We're going to lay it on a table with the top edges lined up. We are now going to measure and mark 1/2 inch along the entire opening of the bag. So take your fabric marker, put it at the ruler at 0. Here's the 1/2 inch mark. Make a little dash. Scoot your ruler over, make sure you're at 0, a little dash. A little dash, a little dash, a little dash, a little dash, a little dash. Flip the fabric over, and you're going to do the same thing to the other side. 1/2 inch. From 0, 1/2 inch, 0, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, small little dashes. Then step number 14 you're going to go back to those openings that we marked before, but this time where the opening is, you're going to mark 1/4 of an inch above the opening. Before, when you did the U, it was below. This time, for step number 14, you're going to mark 1/4 of an inch above. So you're going to take your ruler, you're going to find the 1/4 of an inch mark, and you're going to make a mark. Make sure you use a marker or a pencil that you can see. Flip your bag over. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. Find the opening, measure 1/4 of an inch above the opening. Step number 15, you're going to turn the bag wrong side out again. You're now going to fold. Number 16, you're going to fold and press along the 1/2 inch marks. So those little dashes that you put along the top of the bag, you're going to fold these edges. So these little dashes are right along the edge of the bag. Remember to wet your fabric slightly. Fold it down, make sure they're right along the edge. And that's the 1/2 inch fold. Go nice and slow. Flip your fabric over. Make sure your marks, your 1/2 inch marks, are along the top edge. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to make sure you iron it. Now step number 17, now you're going to fold it again. You're going to fold it again down, and this time you're going to fold it with the 1/4 of an inch marks are going to be at the top edge. So here's my mark here, and here's my mark over here. So you've got a pretty big fold now. This is making the casing. The casing is the little tunnel that we feed the drawstring through. Again, spray your fabric lightly. I'm going to fold this and iron. Remember, keep your iron moving. Keep your iron in the upright position when it's not in use. Flip it over. Fold it again and iron. Okay, put your iron in the upright position. Okay, now that we've ironed the 1/2 inch and then folded the top down and we've pressed both edges, we're going to now pin the edge of the casing. This is now called the casing. This is going to be the little tunnel that the drawstring is going to be put through. You're going to pin the edge. Make sure that you're not pinning the opposite side. And you're going to turn and pin, turn and pin. Now that all your edges are pinned, we're going to load it up into the sewing machine. We're going to line up the edge of the fold of the casing. Line up your pressure foot to the edge of the fold. Take out the pins as you go. Do not run over the pins. Make sure the bottom of the bag, the opposite side, is not tucked underneath your presser foot. Just have the one side nice and flat on your sewing machine. You're going to go forward 5, reverse 5, go forward 5, and pull the pins out. Go nice and slow. And you need to sort of turn the bag as you go and rotate it around the base of the sewing machine. So nothing gets bunched up and it just moves smoothly through the machine. And turn the bag. And we're going all the way around back to the point where we started. Keep this nice and flat. Oops. Bring it back up to the edge of the fabric. Now we're coming around to where we began, and the two areas of thread should meet up. And don't forget to stop, reverse 5 stitches, go forward 5 stitches. Okay, take your fabric out, cut your thread. Now trim all of your threads. Okay, good stop. Okay, step number 19, you're going to turn the bag right side out, and you need to point your corners. So take a chopstick or one of the pointers and just take the back edges out, point them neatly so they stick out. So it's a nice 90-degree angle right there. Okay, once you do that, you're going to lay your bag down. You're going to take the cord. You should right now have one edge that still has tape on it when you were cutting and taping your drawstring when you did your loops on the bottom. You're going to take a safety pin. You're going to put it through the tape, close the safety pin. You are then going to put the safety pin into one of the loops. You're going to hold the back end of the safety pin with your right hand. With your left hand, you're going to scrunch and hold the fabric over the front of the safety pin until you can't put any more fabric over the safety pin. You're going to hold the front with your left hand, let go of your right hand, and pull. You're going to do it again. You're going to hold the back end, scrunch the fabric over, hold it in place, pinch the front, pull. You're going to do this all the way around the bag till you get back to the side. You're going to pass the second hole. Turn it around. Scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. Pinch the front and pull. Turn it around. Scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. Pinch the front, pull. Scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. Pull. All right, so we're coming right where the cord went in. You're going to pull the safety pin back out. You're going to pull the cord. Make sure the bag isn't bunched, that it's completely open. You're going to pull this cord, unravel some of this. Pull this one cord so it's about a couple inches past the loops. You're going to put the one side through the loop. You're going to extend the cord, this other half of the cord, so they're even. Make sure the top of the bag is not scrunch closed, and then I'm going to place a little piece of tape like we did cutting our loops, and you're going to cut so both cords are about even. Take the safety pin off. Then you're going to make a slip knot. You're going to wrap it around your finger, take the two cords, push them through, and then pull the knot. You want the knot to hang a little bit below that loop. Then you can cut these evenly, and you're done. Now you're going to do the other side. You're going to, again, put the safety pin through the loop, through the tape. You're going to start on the opposite hole, and now you're going to go all the way around the same way you did on the first side. Now it's a little harder now that you've got a cord in the casing. but you can still do it. You're going to pass the opening that's got your 2 cords coming out. Coming back out. And we're going to do the same thing as we did on the other side, where we're going to keep the bag open. Make sure it's not pulled tight at all. Pull one of the cords down. This one has to be a little bit longer. Put one of the cords through the loop. This is the end of the fabric cord, so I'm just going to leave that there. And you're going to take off your safety pin, and you're going to do a slip knot. Pull it through, pull it nice and tight. Have the knot a little bit below the loops, and then cut. Leave a little bit there. And now you have a drawstring bag. If you take the 2 sides and push them, there's your drawstring, and you're done.